You know that feeling, right? You're in a debate, you've got all your facts lined up, all the data, and the other person just won't budge. They just dig their heels in even deeper. It's so frustrating. But what if the problem isn't our facts? What if it's our whole approach?
And that's the big question, isn't it? Why does laying out clear, solid evidence sometimes make things worse? It feels like it totally defies logic, but there's a really fascinating psychological reason this happens, and that's what we're going to unpack today.
Okay, think about it like this. You know how a vaccine works? It introduces a weak version of a virus so your body can build up antibodies. Well, when we attack someone's core beliefs with arguments, it can actually trigger their brain to build up psychological antibodies. Our attempts to refute their point of view can literally make them more certain they're right, kind of inoculating them against our ideas.
To really see this in action, let me tell you a story where the stakes could not be higher. This is Maria Lane. Her son, Toby, was born 3 months premature, weighing just 2 pounds. He was so fragile, and she was absolutely terrified. And in her community, there was this deep-seated belief that vaccines were dangerous. So for her, with Toby so vulnerable, the idea of vaccinating him was completely out of the question.
So every time Marie-Helene took her older kids to the doctor, she got the same old thing, a lecture. The doctors would preach about the benefits and prosecute her for her concerns. She said it felt condescending, like they were calling her a bad mother. And all that did was make her feel attacked, and it just hardened her resistance. But then, she met someone who tried a totally different path.
Right when Toby was getting ready to leave the hospital, the nurses called in a doctor named Arnaud Gagnier, who they called a vaccine whisperer. His method was pretty radical. He didn't preach, he didn't prosecute, he interviewed. So what was his secret?
Dr. Gagnier's secret is a technique called motivational interviewing, or MI. And the core idea is actually really simple, but it's also profound. You can't give someone motivation. It just doesn't work. You can only help them find their own. It's all about switching from telling people what to do to helping them see new possibilities for themselves.
So how does it actually work? Well, it breaks down into 3 key steps. First, you ask open-ended questions to really understand where they're coming from. Then you listen reflectively. You repeat back what you're hearing to show you get it without judgment. And finally, you affirm their ability to make the best decision for themselves. You see, it's not about being a sharp debater. It's about being a good mirror so they can see themselves more clearly. Here's a brilliant way to think about it, borrowing from the world of Harry Potter. Instead of just shouting, "Voldemort is evil," imagine asking a supporter, is there anything you dislike about him? This invites them to find their own reasons for doubt, like, all the murdering, which is way more powerful than you just telling them. It shifts them out of defense mode and into reflection mode.
And just to be clear, this isn't just some clever little conversational trick. Motivational interviewing is an incredibly powerful, evidence-based technique that's been studied like crazy. And the results? They're pretty staggering.
The evidence is just overwhelming. I mean, we're talking about more than 1,000 controlled trials. In roughly 3 out of 4 of those studies, MI showed a meaningful effect on behavior change. And for the people who actually use it, the success rate is 4 out of 5. To get that kind of robust evidence in behavioral science is, well, it's incredibly rare.
And its applications are just so broad. I mean, it started out in addiction therapy, but now it's used everywhere, helping people quit smoking, coaching professional athletes, mediating conflicts, and even in peacemaking efforts in war-torn countries. The principles are truly universal.
This quote comes from Betty Bigom, a Ugandan politician who took on what seemed like an impossible task, opening a dialogue with Joseph Kony, the brutal leader of the Lord's Resistance Army. While all the other officials came in preaching and prosecuting, Betty just listened. She proved that this approach could open a door that everyone else thought was locked and bolted shut forever.
So, the crucial point here is that this kind of listening isn't passive, not at all. It's an active, powerful skill. It's about making people feel genuinely respected and understood. And that is the absolute foundation for any kind of real change. And that brings us right back to Marie-Helene and Dr. Gagnier.
Dr. Gagnier sat with Maria-Ellen for over an hour. He didn't lecture, he asked questions, he acknowledged her fears and validated her desire to be a good mom. But for her, the real turning point, the moment everything changed, was when he told her he respected her decision, whatever it was. She said that one sentence was worth all the gold in the world. So what happened? Well, after that one conversation, Marie-Helene didn't just vaccinate baby Toby. She went and had her 3 older children vaccinated too.
And then she went a step further. She actually encouraged her sister-in-law to go talk to the doctor. In her anti-vaccination community, she said it was like setting off a bomb. One conversation started a huge ripple effect.
This is what author Adam Grant calls inverse charisma. We often think of charismatic people as these brilliant, captivating speakers, but true influence, real charisma, can come from being a brilliant listener. It's about giving someone our most precious resource, our full, undivided attention. It makes them feel smart, it makes them feel respected, and it makes them feel open to new ideas.
So, what's the big takeaway from all this? Well, persuasion isn't about winning an argument. It's about helping someone find their own path to a new conclusion. And it's a process that requires humility, curiosity, and just genuine respect.
And that leaves us with this final, really important question. It's not just about being effective, it's about our character. The next time you find yourself trying to persuade someone, just ask yourself, am I prosecuting, am I preaching, or am I actually, truly listening? The answer might just change everything.